What is the worst thing you have done to have sex? I remember someone else on Reddit once said they put nicotine patches on their girlfriend while they had sex in order to get her addicted to him. Can't remember what thread it was, but I'm pretty sure it was an askreddit thing. But IMO that takes the cake. Obligatory Family Feud video. I'm a guy and I once got my ears pierced because a girl wanted to get hers done and I saw it as an opportunity to hang out. In my first relationship we decided to get a little adventurous one weekend when I was home from college. We rented a hotel room. I tied up my girlfriend, blindfolded her, walked across the street to a Wendy's, bought dinner, came back, and fingered her while feeding her a Frosty. It was the most awkward experience of my life. But damn it, she loved it. Well, I mean, she got a Frosty. I think she's the winner in that situation. I don't regret it. But the stories here did make me remember this. I was sleeping with an ex who still loved me. I'd often give her a booty call when I was horny and she rarely refused me. I'd left it a while and called her somewhat out of the blue, and it took some serious persuading to get her to agree to some fun times. It was during these fun times that we ended up in a 69. Things were going really well and she had quite the orgasm. After which, to my surprise, she got up off of me, handed me a roll of toilet paper from the side, said finish yourself off, asshole, and left. Needless to say I did. I've respected that woman incredibly ever since. My friend let a girl who is smoking hot, like an Easy 9, put a silk blanket in his ass during sex, and told him to tell her when he was coming. He did, and she pulled it out and he shit himself all over the bed. I swear to God this is true. She admits to it openly as well. I fake an Irish accent. Pretty well, mind you. I forgot that I was faking it the next morning. My buddy of 6 months one day said she didn't just want to be a buddy and wanted more. Told her she was now my girlfriend just to shut her up and get it in. We're now married and have a kid. Ha ha, she got you good. Her friend so she would me out of jealousy. Shit that works. Only if you're good looking. A guy the first knew from college took a girl on a late dinner date. She parked her car at his house and he drove to dinner. While at dinner, he called and had her car towed so that she was forced to spend the night. Stay classy. A student of the DENNIS system. Not sex, but anyways. I was at the courthouse with my ex getting the divorce finalized. I picked her up so we go for lunch as the court had lunch break, and we're in the car talking and I start sweet talking her, saying you never know, 10 years down the road blah blah. She leans over, starts full out making out with me. It led to me going down on her in the car and a fantastic BJ where she got cum on her fancy blouse and pants, only to have to go back in the courthouse to sign the papers to end it all. I wish I could say I felt bad, but I have no soul and she put me through hell. I was at a friend's house, convinced a girl to come have sex with me in the bed of a girl she didn't like, who was a roommate there. The other girl was not there at the time. Obviously, one of the hottest experiences of my life. No regrets on that one. The dishes. Get married. At the time I didn't believe in sex before marriage. This implies you now do believe in sex before marriage. Once you lose it the first time, it's all fair game, I suppose. I actually pulled a Ace Ventura on a coworker once. She was a virgin, was going to get married in a month. She drove me home, pulled the don't want to be inexperienced on my wedding night line on me, wound up having sex with her about 5 times before the wedding. It was an arranged marriage too, and her parents were really strict. They never found out, thankfully. You f***ed her before she got married. What an ass. Oh, arranged marriage. You're cool, bro. I invited a guy the first was dating over to watch a movie, even though I knew the file was corrupted and the movie wouldn't play properly. So you'd think we had sex. No, because the guy was a motherfucking engineer and he proceeded to download and install the latest version of VLC player, then a good version of the movie, until he got everything right. We watched the movie. Then he went home. Engineers. Successfully up sexy times for as long as I can remember. Went home with one girl, established she probably wasn't going to have sex with me, so slept with her friend instead. You gotta do what you gotta do. Called my ex a month after we broke up and convinced her we never had breakup sex, and that we wouldn't find closure if we didn't one last time. She saw it as a chance for us to get back together, and let's just say it didn't turn out well. I hate myself sometimes. I met someone off 4chan. Hour later I cooked her dinner then into the sack we dove. I would never trust 4chan for something like this. I would never trust 4chan for anything, period. Did she poop on you? With a shoe on her head and a Sharpie in her pooper? Sleep with someone who I didn't find attractive or nice at all. She was into me and I just wanted to have sex again and she was an easy option. Same. Bonus. She had great tits and could suck chrome off a bumper. That's more scary than it is sexy. Get the away from me with your devil lips. You've obviously never experienced someone sucking the chrome off your bumper. I watched Failure to Launch in the theater. That's just disgusting. I met a girl in town whilst out for drinks one night. I was very drunk. Gave her my number and she called me the following week and asked me over for sex. Couldn't remember what she looked like. When I got there, things were going great. We were getting to it when her 2-year-old son, I knew nothing about this kid being in the house, started screaming. As she was putting him back to bed, there was a terrible banging on the house window. Looked outside and apparently her baby's father had turned up wielding a machete. What was worse is that she had a direct panic alarm to the police station as he'd been violent in the past. Within minutes the armed police turned up and a standoff ensued. After the guy was tasered and arrested, they wanted to interview me. I'd already given the girl a false name, which was awkward. Once they were done I left without saying goodbye, thinking I'd get the hell out of there even though no actual sex had taken place. Only to find my car blocked in by police vehicles and I had to go back in the house to ask them to move. Anyway, I went drinking the following weekend. Bumped into the same girl and ended up back at her house again, balls deep, which was probably the worst thing I could have done. I picked a mushroom and put it behind a woman's ear. Then kissed her. It was supposed to be a flower. I couldn't find a flower. My friend who was visiting from New Zealand and I met 2 girls in Chicago at a late-night bar. I faked a New Zealand accent and we pretended to be cousins. Girls loved it. We went our separate ways that night and I continued the accent into the morning. I should add that the next day my friend was laughing at how bad my accent was and how it sounded Australian. Also at one point the girls started to catch on and asked, "You guys sound a little different." My buddy made the save and said he was from the coast and I was from the inland. Never questioned it again. Just so this is not left as a cliffhanger. We talked for like 10 minutes in the morning. Then I left like a bat out of hell. Never saw or talked to her again. No regrets. My roommate has to fake an Australian accent every time he sees a girl he hooked up with. He ate breakfast with her roommate in the morning and had to make up a bunch of bullshit about Australia while sober. Because it would break her heart to find out her one-night stand isn't everything he said he was. There was this girl who was pretty into me, but I wasn't really into her. I acted like I was interested in her to get into her pants. That's pretty bad to begin with, but it gets a little worse. So this girl is really into anime and bishnan looking dudes. And I guess I fit the bill. I'm pretty slender and have long hair for a guy. As a side effect of her liking this kind of guy, she's also into guys cross-dressing. Anyway, I had been sleeping with her for a while, and I really wanted a blowjob. So we were kind of hanging out and I mentioned that I wanted one, and she said that she didn't like giving them. I asked what I could possibly do to get one, and she told me that she always wanted to dress a guy up like a girl. So I let her. Shaved my body hair, wore a dress and everything. Turns out people who don't like giving blowjobs aren't good at giving them. 3/10 would not cross-dress again. Paid. My best friend was dating this psychopath who cheated on her multiple times before she dumped him. A few weeks later, he kept trying to get back with her. She turned him down every time. So instead, he asked if they could have one last night of passion, exact words, together to get over her and he would leave her alone. She jokingly told him, "Yeah, if you tattoo my name on your ass." He did. Showed her the next day. Did he get his night of passion? No. Yeah, I've got a couple of these. I told an American girl I was related to royalty and she lapped it up. I had been seeing a girl who had some pretty intense jealousy issues and we'd broken it off. One night when I was bored I text her telling her about how I was out with my friends and an old FWB was in the bar with us. After a few back and forths she asked me to come round on my way home. I'd been in my living room watching The Office with my flatmate the whole time. A girl was convinced I was in a gay relationship with my friend. I let her think that I was because I found her quite annoying. At the end of the night I let her turn me, then used my homosexuality as an excuse to never have to actually date her. I'm a terrible, terrible person. Some guy at a party was telling everyone that I was giving out ecstasy was cyclobenzaprine, so this girl comes up and asks if she can have a pill. I glad oblige and she grabs my hand and drags me to the beer pong table, and after about 20 minutes, she said she felt it kick in and dragged me off into the wild pink yonder. She also ended up sucking my buddy off in her car, so there's that. This is the opposite. But I had sex with a guy to get at his Xbox 360 and play Fable 2. I have Fable 3. Well, not entirely on topic, but I once had sex with a girl so I could play on her piano afterwards. That's the worst thing I've done to play piano. Bitches. Play piano. Like a bark. Wore a girl's underwear. She wanted to take a picture. That. She was smoking hot though. I was drunk and about 20 years old. I've dressed up in drag on multiple occasions at a woman's request. Pretty fun actually. Called my ex-boyfriend at the time a pussy if he didn't come to my house. He can't stand that word. It was 3 a.m. I knew he'd have sex just to prove he's not a pussy. He's a pussy. He's a pussy for letting that get to him. Senior year of high school. One of my buddies starts talking to this sophomore chick, and asks how much money he would have to pay her to give him a blowjob. She says I don't know, like $20, to which my friend responds what about $15? At this point, my buddy proceeds to talk her down to $5. $3 up front and the other $2 if it's good. He only gave her $3.